Let's hear a man food shame and weight shame and trigger warning if you go through any sort of eating or body dysmorphia stuff. But this was healing for me to hear your response, which is why I want you to read this.
All right. So it was May of 2024, and I felt this intuitive nudge to download the yellow dating app. Within an hour of being on the app, I had a new match, and something told me I needed to connect with him. On this app, women have to send messages first. So I did just that by asking him, what is something I wouldn't know about you based on your profile? I can't quite recall what he told me because that wasn't the important part. It was the conversation that followed. After responding, this man followed up with the same question for me, and I shared with him that I am a chef, which I do not advertise on dating sites. It's one of my hidden talents I get to reveal if I feel so inclined, and in that moment I did. He asked me what I like to cook, and I shared with him a meal I had made for friends over the weekend, which consisted of savory roasted chicken thighs with fennel and endive, along with an arugula salad with fresh herbs and balsamic dressing, and roasted carrots drizzled with fragrant truffle oil, feta, and parsley. That recipe is in section 3 of the book. You're welcome. It was
I
a
can
vibe.
smell it.
After sharing that, this is where it got good. I'll share the play-by-play. Let's call him E. E. Are you fat? I would be, lol. Thankfully, all of my cooking is extremely basic. Me. No, I'm not. E. Phew. Me neither. Me. My photos are actually me. E. Yay. Photos are deceptive sometimes. Are you under 130 pounds? Yup. He actually wrote those words. Now, remember how earlier I shared with you how I used to ridicule myself if I wasn't 135 pounds? Okay, it gets better. Let's continue. Me. No, I'm not. Nor would I want to be at my height. I'm 5'7" for inquisitive minds. Me. Are you fat phobic? E. Yes. Admittedly, I am. To which I replied, interesting. Though what I was thinking was wow, while also taking a deep breath to understand why I felt called to have this conversation with this man. E. I prefer fit girls. Is it interesting or unusual? To which I said, interesting that you asked a specific weight. The conversation continued with him sharing gems like, my ex was 115 pounds, then 170 pregnant, and lost all the weight. It's not hard to lose weight. Just eat less. And even went on to say, but I feel people are too fat nowadays. Girls aren't trying to be thin and fit. He continued on saying, it's kind of interesting. I grew up attracted to Sports Illustrated swimsuit models and Victoria's Secret girls. That was every boy's fantasy. That was it. This was my moment. My moment to stand up for myself, to transmute my fears of not being thin enough, attractive enough, or worthy enough by just being me. The intuitive hit I felt when I messaged him wasn't about going on a date. It was about having a mirror reflect back to me an old, ugly, self-hatred version of myself. So I responded by simply saying, are you still a boy or have you grown into a man? To which he said, I think I'm still a boy when it comes to that. It was at that moment a part of me was set free. That insecure, not attractive or worthy enough part of me was no longer me. That was the little girl who grew up with Victoria's Secret and Sports Illustrated swimsuit models. And unlike E, I decided to evolve from girl to woman. I ended the conversation shortly after, letting him know I was a chef, health coach, and author. I appreciated the reflection and conversation and would be sure to share it with others. Why? Because you need to remember that your insecurities will show up so you can look them in the eyes and defeat them. In that conversation, I was able to slay my own dragon and find both empathy and love for this 45-year-old boy man who had yet to grow up and was still living in his childhood fantasies. I know what it's like to live in fantasy. I was stuck there for some time. Can you relate? It was in this conversation that I further found and strengthened my voice, love, and devotion to myself. Once upon a time, this conversation would have rocked me and sent me down a shame spiral. But on this day, I ended the conversation and popped into Trader Joe's to grab some groceries.
Oh, it's so good. Like get angel bumps and oh, thank you for sharing that.
Oh, I haven't read that one out loud. So, wow. It feels so good to just like, even as I share it, right? I get to transmute it further. And I know as other people read it, they're going to feel it and it's going to release them from their own demons.